Hello, welcome in. Today we're going through the book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success. I've had this book for several years now, and each time that I read this book, I develop a deeper insight for myself. So I decided to create a video for others, just to introduce the book and to possibly spark some new thoughts, new habits, and a new way of doing things, so that we can both evolve, we can both grow individually and simultaneously. Because when we think better and feel better, we make decisions, and our choices are based off of a better mindset, versus if we are moving, acting, and thinking in the state of survival or familiarity. This book is a guide for those who are willing and daring enough and courageous enough to go after something that's bigger than themselves, something that is going to take them out of the place of familiarity, comfortability, and conformity, and moving more into authenticity, entrepreneurship, creativity, critical thinking, and just overall self development. So, this book was written by Dr. Herbert Harris. He is a retired attorney, published author, and public speaker. Again, I had this book for several years. It's kind of beat up a little bit. I've taken so many notes, and I've applied his teachings to my life, to my mindset, and life has its ups and downs. And this book, and many books like this that we'll be going over, has helped me keep a positive and forward thinking mindset. So, we're going to be discussing the first universal law, which is the law of thought. Understanding our thoughts. So, we have so many thoughts throughout the day. Most of the time, we don't remember all the thoughts that we have, and a lot of times they're fleeting, and they are here and then they're gone. However, we do have core thoughts that we have on a regular basis, that are our belief systems, our values that we develop at a young age. And we have two parts of our thinking, and it's the rational aspect and it is the emotional aspect. The rational aspect is the statement of thought itself, the ideas and the words. The emotional aspect is the personal feeling and emotions associated with thought. So it's one thing to have a thought, and it's another thing to have a emotion connected to that thought. Our thoughts have to be in one accord in order for it to actually move us. Our desire have to be connected to our thoughts in order for it to actually move us. So this means you can have a thought that says, I want to be a millionaire. Now, if this isn't a deep, burning desire for you, most likely you're not going to do all of the steps and do the work that requires of one to take to make $1 million. In fact, you're going to do what you've always done, which is familiar to you, and that is practical and rational for you. Because if you've never seen a millionaire, it's quite difficult to get yourself started. And if it's not something that you truly actually desire deeply, it's something that's not going to happen. So it's something that you think, but it's not necessarily something that you feel. You may not even feel that you're worth $1 million. You may feel that uncomfortable. You may receive things like imposter syndrome if the opportunity ever even presented itself to you. So these are all things that's associated with thoughts. Now, contrary to that, when you have a thought, you're using your rational aspect of your mind, and you have an emotional feeling, a deep desire for it. For example, purchasing a car, you'll start thinking of ways as to how you can practically buy the car. What practical steps do you need to take to actually purchase the car that you want, purchase the car of your dreams? What situation do you need to be in? And then you can make that happen, because you may desire to have a car. Maybe you're sick of catching a bus, paying car ride fees, Uber, Lyft, and the such. So you have the desire, you have the thoughts, and then your start mind will start creating ideas, and you'll start taking action. Action and thoughts are so important when it comes to doing what we want. So this video is really for entrepreneurs, artists, and those who are willing and want and able to take dominion over their life. So our self-image is broken up in three different parts. And the first one is conception to age 7. Our core values, our core beliefs of ourselves, the way we think, react, and interact with the world, is developed in this early stage of life. Now, you see these boys, they're probably around the age of 7 years old, and their self-image at this age is developed, and whatever they think and feel about themselves at this age is the foundation, and their experiences will be filtered through this image. So I'm going to read an example of self-image here, of the conception to age 7. So it says, the first 7 years of life, children develop the basic system of values that will take them through life. It is during this period that the child learns and develops emotions and feelings of fear and reward, pain and pleasure, love and lack of love, guilt, blame and shame, praise and discouragement, curiosity or lack of interest, persistence or discouragement, respect or disdain, manners or crudeness, courtesy or callousness, and other positive and negative emotions. So how they see themselves in their environment is, or how we see ourselves and how we see our environment is built from our early age, from conception to age 7, and we accept everything as absolute at that age. You know, the good and the bad, and how we react and respond to life is often how that carries on with us in our life. Next is our associations in our environment. I don't know why the picture's not showing up here, but for associations, but our who we associate ourselves with. The main 4 people who are in our circle is usually how we are going to either end up like, or we are already like. And if you want to develop your character, look at those who you spend most of your time with. Are those are the people who you spend your time with? Are they the people that reflect and mirror who you're trying to become, who you admire, and and the such. So, and then you have your environment. Our environment is a core plays a core part in how we see ourselves, because it is validation. Our environment is validation to who we think ourselves to be. So it says in the 12 Universal Laws of Success, it says your environment is a strong influence upon your self-image, because it is a source of validation and confirmation. So suppose you have a poor image of yourself, and you live in an environment that reflects that. You live in an environment that is in reflection as to how you think of yourself. Or maybe you move into an environment that does not match the way you think of yourself. You are either going to change that environment or become conformed of that environment. You're going to become like your environment. uh, you are going to become a part of your environment, where you stay or where you live. So it's important to know where you are, like what type of mindset do you want to have. So you want to control that by controlling where you live. You can control your self image by taking dominion over your environment and where you live, who you associate with. Be picky and choosy. And if you have negative beliefs about yourself from that you developed during your early stages, then understand that you have work to do. Understand that you have things that you may need to unlearn and relearn, habits that you may need to get rid of, and new habits that you are going to need to adapt to. We all need habits that are going to help us move towards our goals and move towards the person that we want to be. But those of us who have had a tougher early development, early self image of negativity, negative thinking, negative doing, surrounded by negative people, living in a negative environment, there's a lot of unlearning, a lot more unlearning that you're going to need to do, a lot more work that you're going to need to do. And if you really do want to make a difference, make a change in your life, because if you make a change in your life, you're going to change the lives of those around you. And if you're committed to that, then it's worth the work that's going to be put into it. Just buckle up, buckle in, because it's not going to be easy, which is why it's important that you are surrounded by people who reflects and mirrors the direction that you're going to, surrounded by people who love you and believe in your vision, in the direction and the choices that you're making. You want to surround yourself around people who bring light and joy into your life. Not You don't want to surround yourself around vampires who secretly envy you, that want to see you beneath them due to familiarity, comfortability, or validation for yourself, of your current self image. So really take hold of this. And the best way you can practice who to and not associate yourselves with is by practicing discernment. How do you feel when you're around these people? Do you feel good or do you feel bad? What type of thoughts or feelings, what type of conversations are you having? Are you gossiping? Or are you talking about things that are productive? So these are all things that we must think and work on. So 5 signals your self-image needs work. Number 1, you blame others. Number 2, you run away from your problems. Number 3, you criticize others and yourself. Number 4, you're waiting for someone or something to solve your problems. You pretend everything is okay. So these are all things that we are guilty of when we are self-sabotaging, or may have something about us that we need to work on. So, and these are the most common areas, and these are the areas that this book particularly covers. So going to number 1, you blame others. So maybe your early years of when you were 7 and younger was really tough for you. And the adults, your siblings, your teachers, your neighbors had a really tough time, made your life difficult. And you may not have understood everything back then, but now you've kind of shaped into a person who may be distrusting, or someone who may have more of a negative outlook on life, may not want to take initiative on your desires, and you have a lot of triggers, and you may blame those around you. And I mean, to blame those around you, I mean, they hurt you. You can acknowledge that you've been hurt by those people, but at some time, you're going to have to let that go. Understand that that is baggage, that's weights that you're carrying. And honestly, it's not hurting anyone but yourself. And you have to move on. You have to move forward, because if you hold on to it, no one else is holding on to it but you. This is your life. You have to make the decision. Do you want to be let go of this weight and move forward? And that is not to do number two, which is run away from your problems. You have to heal from it. And I feel like in this era, the word healing and self-love is oversaturated. And when I say heal, I mean to really go to the core of, why are you, for example, why do you push people away when they come into your life, when they get too close, too comfortable? Why do you do that? And if you can pinpoint it to something, maybe something that happened to you in your early stages of life, why don't you fight that feeling and do the opposite of what you want to do, of which is pushing that person away? Why don't you just do the opposite of what you are being urged to do, which is push them away, by keep them in? Allow yourself to be open and vulnerable and discerning, and forgive the people that done you wrong, because they probably have been done wrong. And this is not to ignore or to criticize others, which is number three, or yourself, but to really take authority in the direction that you're moving forward to. You have to claim and proclaim who you are and what you are, where you're going, what you're doing. You cannot let other people, circumstances, events and situations, anything that's outside of you, shake or shift you of who you truly are, who your core are. You truly are, because if as soon as you let them control who you are exactly who they say you are. They are your master. You serve them by acting in a predictable way of who they think they are. I mean, of who they think you are. It's up to you to change who. It's up to you to change who you are, and to evolve who you are. That's up to you. It's up to no one else. So there are 12 ways we can improve ourselves. This is from the 12 Universal Laws of Success, and this is what this book is going through, and this is what we're covering in this episode. But as we dive deeper and dissect different books, we're going to find different ways, and different ways you can improve. This is just 12 ways that this author put in the book. And the first one is to be honest with yourself. Are you blaming others? Are you running away from your problems? Are you brushing things under the rug? Are you criticizing others? Are you being judgmental of others? Talking about who that person's with? You always on gossip channels, worrying about who, such and such is dating, and who broke up with who, what the new tea is. Like, you're always worrying about other people, always got an opinion. Or you may be critical of yourself. You're critical of your appearance and how you sound, and what you lack and all this stuff, and you may be beating yourself up. Are you waiting for someone else to solve your problems? Are you waiting for money to come, but you're not creatively thinking of ways to make more money? Are you pretending that everything is okay when it's not? You have to be willing to do the work to make these changes in your life. So be honest with yourself. Next is to relax. In the book, it says relaxation is the key to stress reduction and to mental and physical regeneration. Through relaxation, you can communicate with your subconscious mind and tap into a well universal knowledge, wisdom, energy, and understanding. Without the ability to regularly relax, you can over time become victim to accumulated stress. One way you can relax is through doing relaxing activities that doesn't really require thought. Meditation is great if that's something that you want to practice. Taking walks, doing things like, playing with your pets, your children, putting yourself in a relaxed, full state of mind daily, making it part of your routine is important. Prioritizing relaxation is really important for self improvement. If we don't prioritize relaxation in our lives, we are allowing for, you know, we're allowing for the day to control us. When you control relaxation, when you plan for it and implement it within your schedule, no matter what, then you are taking dominion in that way. You want to cultivate good habits that are moving towards your personal self development, personal self growth. You want to develop your imagination. A great habit is to plan time for relaxation, read books, meditate, and partake in creative activities that will develop your imagination. You want to develop your imagination because you develop your thoughts. And the better you develop your thoughts and the more intense your thoughts are, the more control you have and the more dominion you can have over your life. You have to have a winning attitude. You cannot believe what you believe you perceive. Fear and faith have the same exact definition. You believe that something's going to happen without proof. Some of your fears are so big and so true to you. You don't have any proof, but to you it's so real. Like, it's going to happen. That's what's going to manifest in your life, not the true thing that you want. Whatever you feel is the thing that's going to happen. If your fear overpowers your faith, your fear is always going to win. You must practice gratitude every day for even the little things that you have. The little small things, taking warm showers, eating food, spending time with your family. Those are all things to have gratitude for. Showing up as yourself. We must show up as ourselves and be authentic. Take our mask off, unmask ourselves. Now, in the book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, for the section of unmask, it says a mask is a personality trait that you create and project to the world. So, I believe we wear different masks in different situations. Like, you're not going to show up to work as you show up for your children. You're not. That's not going to happen. You're not going to show up at church the way you show up possibly at work. Like, those are two different sides of you. But taking notice to the different sides of you that comes out during those times and really leaning into those traits and really leaning into who you are in those spaces. If you're an executive in your job, at your career, lean into that executive position. If you want to be an executive, research, what does an executive do? What do they do in a regular? What do they eat? When do they sleep? What books do they read? What books do you need to read to be an executive and start moving and thinking and wearing that mask, practicing wearing that mask, will build callous for when the opportunity presents itself, because you've practiced so many times wearing the mask that when you're asked to put it on, you're not taking it back. You want to acknowledge your weaknesses, have compassion, grow from your mistakes, and never stop growing. We want to continuously learn. The moment you stop learning is the moment that the moment we stop learning is the moment we stop growing. We must continue to learn. We must continue to read books like the 12 Universal Laws of Success. We must continue to practice being our best versions, practice being the best in our field, because if we're not the best, then we're just average, and if we're average, then we're not making a difference, and if we're not making a difference in any area of our life, what's the point? So some of these pictures didn't pop up. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing this, but I don't know why this picture is not popping up, but yeah, you want to take dominion of your life so that you can live the successful life that you want, be the success that you see yourself as. And it all starts with our thoughts. It starts with our thoughts. It starts with how we feel about the thoughts that we have, and it starts with our self-image. How do you see yourself in the world? How do you see your environment? How do you see who do you associate yourself with? Are you associating yourself with people who are negative, people who have the wrong mindset? You can join communities in your city or wherever you live. You can join communities that are of people who are living the life that you were trying to break into, or doing what you are passionate about, so that you can continuously have conversations in the area that you want to develop in. These are all simple things. This is just a reminder for you all. Again, this is video 1 of 12 videos. We're going to be diving into each chapter of the 12 Universal Laws of Success by Herbert Harris. I am your presenter, Delara Andrea, aka Third Eye Evo. Thank you so much for joining us and sitting through this presentation, because you are absolutely worth it, and you are going to take dominion of your life if you have not. And if you have already started the process of taking dominion in the direction, or you're in a state of transformation and change, these presentations are for you as reminders, and we're going to grow and continue to evolve together. And I cannot wait to see you again next week. Peace.